Welcome, my beautiful weebs, and welcome to the Weebish podcast.
Konnichiwa senpai, please notice me. I watch Asian cartoons. I'm a weeaboo.
This will be our second episode, and if you listen to the previous podcast, you'll know the topic for this podcast. The topic will be anime piracy, bum bum bum, which is definitely a very contrived and very complicated issue. I will try to do my best to explain, even though I know that I'm biased for one of them. I'll let you guess which one I'm very biased for. So, by the way, I'm gothjon. I will be your host today. I'll be talking about, like I said, anime piracy in the anime community. But before we get to that, let's talk about current stuff that I'm watching. So, one of the shows that I've been really jamming with is My Next Life as a Villainess, All Roads Lead to Doom. This is a second season, and the last episode I watched was episode 7. So, the show, the first season ended, and she's stuck in like a video game where she plays as one of the villain characters, and you're like, okay, I've played one of these games before, and if she's one of the villain characters, bad stuff's probably going to happen to her if the heroine wins. So the entire time she's like trying to like 4D chess her like way around. And now that we got into the second season, the thing about the first season was she had a general idea of what was coming. This season she has no idea. So when random stuff happens, she's like, has to like fire from the hip, which makes the show even better and super awesome. And another show that I've been watching is my obligation, I guess I call it at this point. I'm somebody that really likes shonen anime, so I grew up watching Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that. So the current shonen anime that I've been trying to keep current on is My Hero Academia, and I prefer the subtitle. There are some good voices in the dub, like Monica Ryle, best girl ever for the dub, in my opinion. She voices Froppy, and I'm like all about that. But then you look at like the villain characters in the dub, and I can't jive with them. Like I watched the first episode dubbed pretty recently, and I might be able to rewatch the show dubbed. Like if I saw one of the movies dubbed, it wouldn't be like the end of the world. So for this show, currently airing, I think it's the 4th or 5th season. That shows you how much I pay attention to My Hero Academia. I have tons of My Hero merch and stuff like that. You know, it's just trying not to be inside that fan base. It's one of the more toxic ones. So you'll, Pickle Rick type deal with like Rick and Morty. And something I really want this season, which I'm sure I'll get, if not this season, I'm sure a season in the future, because what I've heard of the manga without trying to spoil it or anything like that, I haven't read it, is something happens with Toga, so I'm like, cool. Give me more Toga. Toga is one of my favorite characters in My Hero Academia. She has, cool power set. She's not too overpowered like Deku, the Mary Sue of our show that, and unlike like Sword Art where he's just OP from the beginning, he's actually garbage at the start, and you're like, oh, okay, he's a little crybaby. He's a Shinji Ikari from like Evangelion. He's a whiny little bitch. So I'm looking for more Toga. You give me another Froppy episode like they did in like the second season, that would be really cool. I really dig anything to do with Froppy because Monica Ryle, but I watched the sub, so she's my favorite hero in the show. So let's begin to start our subject for the evening or day or whenever you're listening to this. let's talk about Western anime piracy or Eastern anime piracy or wherever you are in the world. So, I personally, I pirate. Something we all do. Sometimes you get something like Dorohedoro, where it's a Netflix jail in Japan, and I didn't have a VPN at the time, so it was just like, well, okay, well, I guess I'm pirating this because you guys give me no other option, and I'm not waiting an undefined amount of time. So something for the argument for piracy in general is this quote that I would like to read from Gabe Newell. He's the guy who made like Steam and all that stuff. It's a big platform for video games and software and all sorts of other cool stuff. So he said, "We like to think there is a fundamental misconception about piracy. Piracy is almost always a service problem and not a pricing problem. If a pirate offers a product anywhere in the world 24/7, purchasable from the convenience of your personal computer, and the legal provider says the product is region locked, will come to your country 3 months after release, and can only be purchased at a brick and mortar store, then the pirate's service is more valuable." So, what that means, to me at least, is just like what he said at the beginning. It's always a service problem, not a pricing problem. There's been many a times where if I don't like the platform. For instance, for video games, the platform that is Epic, I don't like Epic Games. I don't like them as a company. I don't like that they will do the buy up all the properties, release them on their platform, and not console exclusive type deals. I want to play Horizon Zero Dawn, and I don't want to wait an undefined amount of time, and it might not ever come to my console. I don't have PS4. What am I supposed to do? Just not play it? And you're like, sure, you're just being, selfish and greedy and all that. And I'm just like, well, if you're going to make it easy for me to buy, like, for instance, Spotify and, like, the music industry, I pay for Spotify because I like their service. I can download podcasts. I can download music. Like, I have, hundreds of songs and stuff like that. I want more stuff like that. So, like Netflix. So, in the current day, in 2021, you are expected, if you want to watch something, it's going to be, Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime with their TV service, which is terrible service. Because most of the stuff on their stuff you have to buy separately. So it's just like, well, what's the point? Unless it's like an Amazon original show, you're just going to get, hosed over. And at least with Netflix, they have, a very large variety of stuff to watch. Like, so a non-anime thing that I've been watching a lot of and trying to stay current with because the show is long since over is Supernatural. The show has like 15, 16 seasons. If I were to try to like buy something like that, not only would I have to try to find it, I'd have to also try to find, at a reasonable price, a reasonable quality, instead of like DVDs or something. Just like, ugh. And then how much would that cost? There's, 15, 16 seasons. You're thinking maybe like $20, $30 a season. And that's even if I can find it. And it's not, a pirated copy, like sold from somebody. Like that's a big deal. And since Netflix doesn't own doesn't have all the copyrights for all these games, it's just like, well, games for all these. I'm sure they want to do that someday. All these movies and anime and stuff like that. So you have to like subscribe to like 4 or 5 different services to like watch all the stuff that you want to watch. And so, I don't have HBO Max. I still want to watch some of the stuff that's on there. And I'm going to find an easy way to do that. And when, downloading a torrent or however you acquire your movies and games and whatnot, and anime, if it's easier to click 2 links and I, no sweat off my back when I, watch the file. And like Rick and Morty, like, what are you guys doing? You put like the first episode on your Adult Swim, you give them the first taste. That episode's sweet. And then the second one, you're like, oh, you gotta be a cable provider. And I'm not paying for cable. You're out of your damn mind. So that concludes a lot of my feelings for anime piracy. It's, if I can't watch it in a legal way, I'm gonna do the technically illegal way in the United States. And I'm a firm believer that copyrights shouldn't last 50 years, and then if you're Disney, it's 200 years or something. And then every time the copyright comes up, then they're like, okay, well let's push those politicians to extend my copyright. We're in the service of making tons of money. So there's an argument for against, and I'm not a debater. I haven't thought about this too much. I've put some things to pen to paper. Thought about it a bit. Depending on what country you live in, piracy might be illegal. I live in the United States, so yeah. If you lived in some parts like India, they don't care, or if they do, they care, but they're not gonna slap on the wrist or whatever. If I get caught pirating, my internet service provider will, they'll turn off my internet, and I'll have to call them or something, or have my roommate call them and try to get turned on and all that stuff. And if it isn't illegal in your country, it's probably immoral because you didn't pay for it. And that's what feels bad because you're stealing. You wouldn't download a car. Well, if it was easy to, I would. And if you aren't buying physical copies of the anime, you're not voting with your dollar. And by doing so, you might not see, sequels or, another continuation, another part, Naruto has, 3 different animes, and, if we didn't buy all the DVDs and, see the movies and whatnot, would that show, how much advertiser money can they really get from the Japanese, base? I'm sure, it's enough, but, the longer the show goes, the more likely, less people are going to watch it, and, drags on. There's a lot of filler, and, who wants to watch all that? When I'm watching something like One Piece, I'm going to skip all the filler. I ain't got time for that. So, this is why I buy my anime when I can, and it's a show that I love. For instance, my top 5, I physically own most, if not all of it, on Blu-ray or DVD. And, I love Studio Trigger. If I love an anime that they made, I'll buy merch, I'll buy, Blu-rays and whatnot. This is, it's something important to me. I'm a pirate and everything, we'll sail the high seas when we have to, but, I want to support the anime industry, but it's not going to be with Crunchyroll or anything like that, because I don't like their service. And I'm going to continue buying anime. One of my, the people I watch a lot on YouTube, Talarian Community College, he's a magic, YouTuber. He does reviews and stuff on sleeves and anime products. And he always says, whenever it's reasonable, buy your stuff at your local gaming store. And I agree with that. When it's not, MSRP price to oblivion, buy it. If they don't release Blu-ray, they don't print more Blu-rays or DVDs of anime you like, you're not going to overpay for them. When I see something like a box set for over $100, you're out of your mind. If it's above $60, it's not worth my money. They recently came out with the Code Geass Blu-rays, and it was $40. I was like, yes, there's 2 seasons. That's 50 something episodes. And the movie came out, and I was just like, yes, I want to support this. I like this. This is, and it was easy something to buy. I just bought it on Amazon. If, Amazon wasn't such an easy service to use, I wouldn't have bought it on there. And when companies make it hard for you to spend your money, if I go in a physical store and I can't buy something, I'm just going to go pirate it. Like, for instance, and that's my against argument. It's not very good. I'm very opinionated on this subject, and when I like going back to what I was saying before, when I go into a store and I'm there to buy something, and they'll say, "Oh, you can buy it online." I'm at the store for a reason. I got my keys, got in my car, drove to your store, and this is me being a total Karen, I guess, with my Karen haircut that I don't have. Going into a store and saying, I want to buy this. And then I look on their shelves and they don't have it, or they don't stock it, or they don't have the way to acquire the product. I'm not going to buy it. I went into a Best Buy one day, tried to buy Windows, whatever Windows it was at the time, and they said, we don't have Windows. It's like, okay, I guess I'm gonna pirate it. And since then, I do have a Windows key. I have a legal copy and all that good jazz. So, don't have to worry about that. And it just keeps coming back to Gabe Newell, what he said so many years ago in an interview. It really strikes home, and it's like a core philosophy of how I feel about piracy. Not only the anime community, but video games, anime. If I can't buy it and I want to, then I'm not going to. I'm going to find an easier way to watch it or play it or what have you. It's a video game, a movie, an anime. If there's not an easy way to watch it, I'm just going to pirate it. And that's not on me. It's kind of on you. It definitely is on me at an aspect that, I'm committing the DRM copyright. But is it really on me? It's on you to offer a service that would make me want to pay for it. I own a lot of anime merch. I own wall scrolls. I'm staring at a panty and stocking wall scroll that's in front of my computer. I have all the Blu-rays. I have panty and stocking on Blu-ray. Or DVD. I think it's DVD. I don't think they ever came out with a Blu-ray. But I'll buy your merch if you make it easy to buy. I own a $150 stock-in figurine, and it's not something you could easily find today. It's probably, you'd have to, so figurines, you kind of get in the Chinese knockoff territory, and that's their piracy. And, I don't want to pay for a cheap knockoff. I want the original thing, but not at a markup if I can help it. And when it's easy and straightforward, that's what I'm going to do. And so I'm coming to terms with that. This conversation, I'm just ranting at this point, and this is what this is. It is a rant, and so I'm going to continue to pirate when it's easier to pirate than it is to watch. If an anime is on Netflix, that's a really, really easy to watch it. If I'm looking for something on Netflix, an anime, I just click play and then I fall asleep on my bed and all that good stuff happens. It is what it is. I'm still thinking of a way to end this episode, and I, I've really brought down the spirits and all that, and it is what it is. I'm somebody that feels pretty passionately about this, and I get it. The argument against is easy. You're stealing, and if you're not going to make it easy for me, I guess I am. There's no way for me to not. And as big as fans of anime as we are, and if I can't easily buy it, especially when I was a teenager, holy crap, I wouldn't have ever watched anime if I had to buy everything. Couldn't afford it. Being 14, I can't get a job where in the US at least. I had to be 15 before I could get a job, and that would have meant I'm watching all this anime on Adult Swim. I'm watching Inuyasha, I'm watching Fooly Cooly, all these cool shows. and now I can't watch them because I can't afford them. I can't pay for them. It's kind of like how you have to pay for the internet. That's all I need to pay for. And then there's an easy way to do it. I can figure it out. And if it wasn't easy, I'm sure I would jump through hoops just to do it, just because I'm sure it'd be easier than trying to legally acquire it. When you add like 15 more steps, I'm going to take the easiest route every time. Whether or not I have to pull out my credit card or not, it's up to them. And that's how I'm going to end this. I don't know what the next subject will be. I'm sure I'll try to bring it up. Maybe we'll talk about filler anime or slice of life or something cool. Maybe whoever's watching this, Yushwash Kaon or something like that. Something, girls just drinking motherfucking tea. And this is gothjon. This is the Weebish podcast, and I hope you have a nice evening or morning or whatever time of day it is. Have a nice one. Ciao.